Hi, my name's Tom Shue, and today I'm going to teach you how to extract somebody from a background. Extracting someone from a background is probably one of the trickiest things you'll do in Photoshop, and I get a lot of requests for this, so I'm just going to go ahead and show you. First thing I want to tell you is if you try to do an extraction, make sure you work with a subject that's got contrast against the background. If you try to extract somebody that, say, has blonde hair against a blown out sky, forget it. There's no software, plugin, anything that's going to help you extract somebody like that. First thing we're going to do is duplicate the layer. Let's Control J. And then I'm going to add a little bit of contrast more to this image. Okay, so say if you are lacking a little bit of contrast and you need to add some to yours, you can come to Levels and increase your black point. And then you can darken down your skin tones too a little bit. Okay, so there we go. Now that we've got this layer made, we can't make an extraction or a selection on this layer. We have to put all the information on one layer, and the shortcut to do that is Control-Alt-Shift-E as in Edward, or Command-Option-Shift-E on a Mac, and it puts everything on a new layer. Grab your Quick Selection tool. Let's zoom in a little bit here. So with your Quick Selection tool selected, you'll see that there's a plus sign. If you hold down the Alt key, it'll give you a minus sign. When the plus sign means you're adding to the selection. Okay, so we just added her to the selection. If we zoom in here, we can see there's an area right here underneath her chin that we don't want in the selection. So we hold the Alt key and click there, and it deselects that area. I'm also going to do the same thing here with her hair. Hold down the Alt key and just deselect there, and then go ahead and shape it in a little bit more. Okay, here's where the real power of Photoshop comes into play, and that's the Refine Edge. You click on Refine Edge, and you see we're in the Marching Ants view. There's a whole bunch of different backgrounds you can use to see what your selection actually looks like. If you hit the F key, F as in Frank, it will cycle through all those selections. So we'll just work on black for now. Okay, so if you grab this tool here, first of all, before we do that, I know she's got a little bitty few hairs hanging on the side. So watch what happens when I grab this radius tool. If I bring it all the way over, you see how it went ahead and made a selection for us, and it cleaned up that edge. But what it did do is it encroached into it, and it affected the way the selection was underneath the chin and over here. So you really can't use this Smart Radius tool. However, the Radius tool is the key to the whole thing, but you're going to use this tool here. It's called the Refine Radius tool. Okay? So with this selected, if we just, let me zoom out a little bit. If we, with this tool selected, just paint around the edge of our subject, we're telling Photoshop, hey, concentrate on this area and refine it. Okay? So this is before and this is after. To show you more dramatically, we're going to hit the F key, and you can see this is before and this is after. So it's made a nice selection. However, there's a couple things that you might want to deal with. First off, right here inside of her ear, you'll see that it's kind of got some transparency going on. Okay, we want to deal with this because her ear will actually be transparent during our selection. So we're going to grab this tool. Let me zoom in a little bit. And with this tool selected, I'm going to make the brush smaller. And I'm going to do the same thing as I did before to deselect there. I'm going to hold down the Alt key. I'm just going to paint in around her ear. And what this will do is it will get rid of that effect. I can get rid of it all the way around the edge. I've deselected, and then I can come in and paint in again, and it will grab just the edge of the ear, because I don't want it to be transparent when I make my final selection. Okay, so I'm going to come right here. I'll paint in. Actually, I'm not going to do that. What I'll do is, actually I will paint in. Since that's such a fine hair, what's going to happen is it's going to show the white background through. So I'm going to grab this Shift Edge tool. And I'm just going to slide it over a little bit, right? And it's going to click You see how it cleaned up this area here? I'm going to click OK. However, if you look over on the side of the face, it shifted that selection all the way on the ear. So we're going to go ahead and click Refine Edge again. So you can see where it's all transparent. I want to make sure that I leave this one here, but I want to go back in and paint around all the information again around the edge. The reason why I'm doing that is because I want to save this selection so you can kind of double stack your selections. So it's going to go in and paint around the edge, and it'll get rid of where it shifted it. Okay. Just paint it again. Okay, so we'll have to do the same thing as we did before. Zoom in a little bit here. And I'm going to fix this area where I know it's going to end up being transparent. So I'm going to grab that tool, and I'm going to hold the Alt key down. Let me make my brush a little smaller. I'm just going to deselect it by painting it away. Remember, plus is add to the selection, and Alt is deselect. Okay, maybe I'll go all the way over the ear, and then I'll just paint on that edge just ever so slightly, and to fix that. And maybe down on this jacket too. Hold down the Alt key and paint it back in. Okay, so that edge looks good. The hair looks good. Everything looks pretty good. So now we're ready just to click OK. So we'll zoom out a little bit. So we're going to make our selection now. We're going to click OK. Now we see the marching ants. Well, we don't want to select this information. We want our original picture. We just increase the contrast for the selection. So we're going to grab this layer here. This is actually the image we want to put on another background. So we're going to hit Control C as in Charlie to copy. And say we'll come over to this image, and we'll hit Control V to paste. Now we've got our subject on our new background. But if we zoom in, we'll see there's some issues. Look in this area of the hair where you can see the sky's coming through the hair really nice. Okay? But there's kind of some gray tinge around the hairs, and that's kind of the glow from the background. We need to defringe this whole layer. Okay? So we'll place it where we want to place. With this layer selected, if we go to Layer, Matting, you can't see it, but it says Defringe, and we'll get this dialog. And with 1 pixel, you click OK, and you can see what happens. You just go to 100% so it doesn't look pixelated. So if we go Control Z to back off, you see that that white edge around everything is gone. Edit, redo, defringe. Okay. Now, it might still not have enough of transition for you around the hair. Sometimes if it's a blonde hair, it will kind of be like black. And if it's black hair, it will be kind of white. So we don't want it to be white. What we'll do is we'll go into the blending options. And with this selected, we'll go to Inner Glow. Okay, and it puts an inner glow around it. And the reason why it's doing that is choosing white. So if you have a blonde-haired person, you want to use this color here, this yellow glow. But since we have a dark-haired person, we want to come over with the color picker, and we want to select the actual color of the hair. So there we go. And now you see that we don't have that glow around it anymore. It's just black. If you're using blonde hair or like a light color brown hair, you use screen. But if you're using somebody with black hair, you want to go to multiply. And you see how that brings in that detail. And you can control how much detail that adds in and darkens up those edges by choosing the opacity. But look around the face and the ear, what it's doing. It's making it black. It's giving that ring around the whole thing. Like down here on the chin, on the face. But it's making the hair look great, but it's not looking so good on the face. So it's like around the jacket edge. So we'll click OK. Now what you're going to do to get rid of that around the ear, it's real simple. Right click on this effects, and it say create layer. You can't see it, but it's off the screen. It does say create layer, and it takes and puts all that information, that outer glow, on a new layer. So it's just a simple matter of taking your eraser tool and just going in and erasing it. Ooh, we didn't want to do that on the wrong layer. Eraser tool selected. We want to just go in and paint the effect away around the ear, around the chin, around the jacket, so it looks like it's supposed to be right. We don't need an extra stroke around the jacket, so we can get rid of that. And we'll just leave it on the hair. Okay? So that's it. This is how you extract somebody, put them on a new layer, and deal with any kind of fringing you might get. I want to thank you all for taking time to visit my blog today, and until next time, we'll see you soon.